Hello, 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 hello. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys. Anyone who's going to show up, I do appreciate it. Make sure that you hit the like button on your way in. There's a lot of people going live tonight. I really got to should have rethought this, but I wanted to get this in. So even if it's just recorded, it will be out here because I wanted to get this in light of Jessie Jackson and just wanted to try to pay some homage to him. Let me adjust my cameras here. So I want to get this in. I want to try to do the 1984 speech tonight, and maybe the 1988 speech on Friday night. And yeah, so if you're here in the building, make sure you say hello so we can greet you. I do appreciate anyone who's going to check this out tonight, and do appreciate anyone who's going to check it out in the future. So make sure you say hello so we can acknowledge you. And yeah, let's make it do what it do, right? Let's make it do what it do. All right, so I am not a Jessie Jackson scholar. There are a couple of videos that I wanted to highlight. Let me see if I can add these here. Let's see, screenshots here. Couple of videos that I think that people really should check out. Let's see. So let me highlight these here. First is a video that was done by Dr. Greg Carr. He did a show. He does a show weekly. I think it's every Saturday or Sunday. I usually catch the replays. Africana Studies, and he did. I think this episode right here, the most previous one, he did about Jessie Jackson. I watched it. Really, really good. And he's vastly more of a scholar than I am. And this one here is. What Did He Accomplish by Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter. Those two are very, very conservative, which is kind of ironic, but whatever. And these two are very conservative. So I'm quite sure that they had some critiques about what he accomplished. So you can go over and check those out. I have not watched this particular one yet. I do plan to watch it just to see what they had to say. But again, I would recommend that people go watch Dr. Greg Carr's, because he did a fantastic job. He did a fantastic job breaking down his legacy. So I'm sure that there'll be some books coming forward and some other items coming forward and all that. So yeah, what's up? What's up, Sir Lavo? I appreciate you joining in, man. There's a lot of people going live tonight. And so we're going to get this in here. I'm not going to delay the time here. So what I wanted to do is cover this particular speech just to have it on the record. So anyone who comes into the chat, please make sure you hit the like button. I was watching another YouTuber tonight. Or previous to this, and he was really getting kind of upset because he does a lot of labor of love. It was BGS. Anybody wants to know, a big labor of love, and he does a lot, and people won't even hit the like button. Man, it's really disrespectful. People are up here trying to give their hard-earned knowledge and wisdom and trying to make the community better, and whatever you're tuning in for, just at least hit the like button. At minimum, hit the like button, right? Whether you're, I don't know, people are people, man. People are people. All right, so let's get into it here. This is the 1984 DNC speech. I will say fair use to this. We'll leave this up here for the entirety of the duration. Hit the like button as well, as I just mentioned. Don't be disrespectful. Hit the like button. If you have not checked out the episode from last night with myself, Anita, and Doctors Damien and Dr. Mika Kima. I forgot her name. Forgive me for that. But please make sure you go watch that episode from last night. It was a great episode. I plan to have them back on to finish that conversation, because I think that the legacy of Kevin Samuels is something that really needs to be fleshed out and studied. I really believe that. Just like we're going to flesh out some of the ideas that Jessie Jackson here had tonight. People who are making strives and driving for a better community need to be celebrated in life, especially, but then, of course, upon their passing. All right, let me get this on the screen here. Share screen. All right. Here we go. Let's put this one up here. We'll maximize this. Jessie was definitely proletariat and very much an original in regards to speaking with disenfranchised communities. Yeah, that's what Greg Carr was saying. So again, I got to be honest, man, I didn't really pay attention to him. I was kind of a young guy, 84, 85. I was, a teenager. And it wasn't even a teenager. I think I was like early teens, 10, 13, 14, something like that. Yeah, I didn't graduate high school till 91. So 88, I was a sophomore. I anyway paying the politics then. So I didn't really get into them later on in life, either. So we'll hear what he had to say. I never actually watched this speech, so I'm anxious to hear it. People said that this speech was really good, and the other speech that was really good was the 88 speech. We'll try to do that on Friday night. Again, if you're here in the building, make sure you say hello, and at least at minimum hit the like button. So here we go. This is the 88 speech. 1984 DNC speech.
Thank you very much. Tonight, we come together bound by our faith in the mighty God with genuine respect and love for our country and inheriting the legacy of a great party, the Democratic Party, which is the best hope for redirecting our nation on a more humane, just, and peaceful course. This is not a perfect party. We are not a perfect people, yet we are called to a perfect mission. Our mission: to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to house the homeless, to teach the illiterate, to provide jobs for the jobless, and to choose the human race over the nuclear race. We are gathered here this week to nominate a candidate and adopt a platform which will expand, unify, direct, and inspire our party and the nation to fulfill this mission. My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited, the disrespected, and the despised. They are restless and seek relief. They have voted in record numbers. They have invested the faith, hope, and trust that they have in us. The Democratic Party must send them a signal that we care. I pledge my best not to let them down. There is the call of conscience: redemption, expansion, healing, and unity. Leadership must heed the call of conscience: redemption, expansion, healing, and unity, for they are the key to achieving our mission. Time is neutral and does not change things. With courage and initiative, leaders change things.
It's odd to see these people from the 80s, right? The looks that they had, the hairstyles, all that. It's almost 40 years ago. Almost 40 years ago. So it's crazy. I was watching he talks about something. We talk about him being a proletariat. And one of the big things that I was watching something today, this couple that I watch, and they were kind of getting on what were they getting on? They were getting on the governor of Governor Newsom, getting on Governor Newsom about his something he said about the LGBT people. And I really thought it was unfair. I really thought it was unfair that they got on him because he has to appeal to a broad range of people. Something about the LGBT. Of course, he wasn't saying take their rights away or anything like that. But as long as they being the Democrats, do not reach the middle people, the moderates, of which I am. I'm an independent. You're not gonna win the whole thing, and that's something they need to understand. That's something they need to understand. So we'll continue on with the speech here.
No generation can choose the age or circumstance in which it is born, but through leadership, it can choose to make the age in which it is born an age of enlightenment, an age of jobs and peace and justice. Only leadership, that intangible combination of gifts Discipline, information, circumstance, courage, timing, will, and divine inspiration can lead us out of the crisis in which we find ourselves. Leadership can mitigate the misery of our nation. Leadership can part the waters and lead our nation in the direction of the promised land. Leadership can lift the boats stuck at the bottom. I've had the rare opportunity to watch 7 men and then 2 pour out their souls, offer their service, and heed the call of duty to direct the course of our nation. There is a proper season for everything. There is a time to sow and a time to reap. There's a time to compete and a time to cooperate. I ask for your vote on the first ballot as a vote for a new direction for this party and this nation, a vote of conviction, a vote of conscience. But I will be proud to support the nominee of this convention for the presidency of the United States of America. Thank you. I've watched the leadership of our party develop and grow. My respect for both Mr. Mondale and Mr. Hart is great. I've watched them struggle with the crosswinds and crossfires of being public servants, and I believe they will both continue to try to serve us faithfully. I'm elated by the knowledge that for the first time in our history, a woman, Geraldine Ferraro, will be recommended to share our ticket. Throughout this campaign, I've tried to offer leadership to the Democratic Party and the nation. If in my high moments, I have done some good, offered some service, shed some light, healed some wounds, rekindled some hope, or stirred someone from apathy and indifference, or in any way along the way helped somebody, then this campaign has not been in vain.
There's no monitors they got to read from, right? All from a script or all right in front of them. 40 years changes a lot. You got to keep looking down and finding your place. That ain't easy.
For friends who loved and cared for me, and for a God who spared me, and for a family who understood, I'm eternally grateful. If in my low moments, in word, deed, or attitude, through some error of temper, taste, or tone, I've caused anyone discomfort, created pain, or revived someone's fears, that was not my truest self. If there were occasions when my grape turned into a raisin and my drawbell lost its resonance, please forgive me. Charge it to my head and not to my heart.
He said, that boy good, that boy good. I'm sure he did speak from the heart a lot of times. I'm sure he did. I watched, that's why I'm curious about the guys I put up on the screen at the beginning, Glenn Lowry and John McWhorter, because people want to, I don't know. People want to crap on him, I know, but he tried. So
my head, so limited in its finitude, my heart, which is boundless in its love for the human family. I am not a perfect servant. I am a public servant, doing my best against the odds.
he is hard to digest. You're absolutely right about that. I cannot. Even Glenn Lowry. Sometimes I think Glenn Lowry gets it, and he got kicked off of. They took his show away from him from whatever think tank he was working for. They took a show away from him. So, so because he wanted to speak out against, or at least ask questions about what was going on in Gaza. So, why those guys don't get it yet, I don't know. The Negro wake up call eventually comes. It eventually comes.
As I develop and serve, be patient. God is not finished with me yet. This campaign has taught me much, that leaders must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving. For leaders, the pain is often intense, but you must smile through your tears and keep moving with the faith that there's a brighter side somewhere. I went to see Hubert Humphrey 3 days before he died. He had just called Richard Nixon from his dying bed, and many people wondered why. And I asked him, he said, Jesse, from this vantage point, the sun setting in my life, all of the speeches, the political conventions, the crowds, and the great fights are behind me now. At a time like this, you are forced to deal with your irreducible essence, forced to grapple with that which is really important to you. What I concluded about life, Hubert Humphrey said, when all is said and done, we must forgive each other and redeem each other and move on. Our party is emerging from one of its most hard-fought battles for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination in our history. But our healthy competition should make us better, not bitter. We must use the insight.
She crying and carrying on. Wow, she felt that. She's feeling that. She crying.
We must use the
wow, that's really touching her.
insight, wisdom, and experience of the late Hubert Humphrey as a balm for the wounds in our party, this nation, and the world. We must forgive each other, redeem each other, regroup, and move on. Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is rainbow. Red, yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. America is not like a blanket, one piece of unbroken cloth, the same color, the same texture, the same size. America is more like a quilt, many patches, many pieces, many colors, many sizes, all woven and held together by a common thread. The white, the Hispanic, the black, the Arab, the Jew, the woman, the Native American, the small farmer, the business person, the environmentalist, the peace activist, the young, the old, the lesbian, the gay, and the disabled make up the American quilt.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Brilliant man. He wasn't polished like the Harvard guys. He had the feel-good thing down way before Obama, but he didn't have the polish. The yuppies wanted smooth soothsayers. Yeah. Yeah, he's still got a little bit of a speech thing going on there. So appreciate that, AJC. Appreciate that $5, my interest fee. Greetings. Everyone else in here, make sure you hit the like button. We should.
Even in our fractured state, all of us count and fit somewhere. We have proven that we can survive without each other, but we have not proven that we can win and make progress without each other. We must come together. From Friendly New Hamer in Atlantic City in 1964 to the Rainbow Coalition in San Francisco today, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, we've experienced pain but progress as we ended America's apartheid laws. We got public accommodations, we secured voting rights, we obtained open housing as young people got the right to vote. We lost Malcolm, Martin, Medgar, Bobby, John, and Viola. The team that got us here must be expanded, not abandoned. 20 years ago, Tears welled up in our eyes as the bodies of Swerner, Goodman, and Cheney were dredged from the depths of a river in Mississippi. 20 years later, our communities, Black and Jewish, are in anguish, anger, and pain. Feelings have been hurt on both sides. There's a crisis in communications. Confusion is in the air. We cannot afford to lose our way. We may agree to agree or agree to disagree on issues. We must bring back stability to these tensions. We are co-partners in a long and rich religious history, the Judeo-Christian traditions. Many Blacks and Jews have a shared passion for social justice at home and peace abroad. We must seek a revival of the spirit inspired by a new vision and new possibilities. We must return to higher ground. We are bound by Moses and Jesus, but also connected with Islam and Muhammad. These three great religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, were all born in the reverend and holy city of Jerusalem.
Appreciate that, Sir Lavo. Let me pay my fair share. FanDuel money for the parlay. Yeah, I definitely need that. Let's see. Yeah. Jesse was Black folks' first president. Yeah. I hate when people call Clinton the first Black president. That really irks me. Really irks me. Because the man played the sax.
Bound by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Rabbi Abraham Heschel, crying out from their graves for us to reach common ground. We are bound by shared blood and shared sacrifices. We are much too intelligent, much too bound by Judeo-Christian heritage, much too victimized by racism, sexism, militarism, and anti-Semitism, much too threatened as historical scapegoats to grow undivided one from another. We must turn from finger-pointing to clasp hands. We must share our burdens and our joys with each other once again. We must turn to each other and not on each other and choose higher ground.
Exactly, Sir Lavo. It's just a mess. This whole thing is a mess. It's a mess. And they won't do anything about it. Congress is dragging their feet. They ain't gonna do nothing about it, which is so disgusting. So disgusting what's going on with the Epstein thing.
Twenty years later, we could not be satisfied by just restoring the old coalition. Old wineskins must make room for new wine. We must heal and expand. The Rainbow Coalition is making room for Arab Americans. They too know the pain and hurt of racial and religious rejection. They must not continue to be made pariahs. The Rainbow Coalition is making room for Hispanic Americans who this very night are living under the threat of the Simpson-Mazzola bill, and farm workers from Ohio who are fighting the Camel Suit Company with a boycott to achieve legitimate workers' rights. The Rainbow is making room for the Native American, the most exploited people of all, a people with the greatest moral claim amongst us. We support them as they seek the restoration of the ancient land and claim amongst us. We support them as they seek the restoration of land and water rights, as they seek to preserve their ancestral homelands and the beauty of a land that was once all theirs. They could never receive a fair share for all they have given us. But they must finally have a fair chance to develop their great resources and to preserve their people and their culture. The Rainbow Coalition includes Asian Americans now being killed in our streets, scapegoats for the failures of corporate, industrial, and economic policies. The Rainbow is making room for the young Americans. 20 years ago, our young people were dying in a war for which they could not even vote. 20 years later, young America has the power to stop a war in Central America and the responsibility to vote in great numbers.
And 40 years later, we're still talking about the same thing. Crazy. 40 years later, still talking about the same thing. Been a minute since I seen somebody with a pipe. Yeah. Yeah. We all know what that's about, brother. We got to stick together to get it through, man. We got to stick together.
Young America must be politically active in 1984. The choice is war or peace. We must make room for young America. The rainbow includes disabled veterans. The color scheme fits in the rainbow. The disabled have their handicap revealed and their genius concealed, while the able-bodied have their genius revealed and their disability concealed. But ultimately, we must judge people by their values and their contribution. Don't leave anybody out. I would rather have Roosevelt in a wheelchair than Reagan on a horse.
These people are loving this, man. They're loving this, man. The black preachers and the rhetoric, right? The rhetoricians there. So, and they say the 88 speech is better than this one. So we'll see.
The rainbow is making room for small farmers. They have suffered tremendously under the Reagan regime. They will either receive 90% parity or 100% charity. We must address their concerns and make room for them. The rainbow includes lesbians and gays. No American citizen ought to be denied equal protection under the law. We must be unusually committed and caring as we expand our family to include new members. All of us must be tolerant and understanding as the fears and anxieties of the rejected and the party leadership express themselves in many different ways. Too often, what we call hate, as if it were some deeply rooted philosophy or strategy, is simply ignorance, anxiety, paranoia, fear, and insecurity. To be strong leaders, we must be long-suffering as we seek to right the wrongs of our party and our nation. We must expand our party, heal our party, and unify our party. That is our mission in 1984. We're often reminded that we live in a great nation, and we do, but it can be greater still. The rainbow is mandating a new definition of greatness. We must not measure greatness from the mansion down, but the manger up. Jesus.
And that is problematic, Sherlavo. I definitely agree with you. This is why, a lot of black folks have been like, with this ICE stuff, we ain't doing anything about this. We're gonna sit right home. We need other people to speak up for us. We need other folks to speak up for us. So we can't always be, our blood can't always be shed in the streets. No, sir.
Said that we should not be judged by the bark we wear, but by the fruit that we bear. Jesus said that we must measure greatness by how we treat the least of these. President Reagan says the nation is in recovery. Those 90,000 corporations that made a profit last year but paid no federal taxes are recovering. The 37,000 military contractors who have benefited from Reagan's more than doubling the military budget in peacetime, surely they are recovering. The big corporations and rich individuals who received the bulk of the 3-year multi-billion tax cuts from Mr. Reagan are recovering. But no such recovery is on the way for the least of these. Rising tides don't lift all boats, particularly those stuck at the bottom. For the boats stuck at the bottom, there's a misery index. This administration has made life more miserable for the poor. Its attitude has been contemptuous. Its policies and programs have been cruel and unfair to working people. They must be held accountable in November for increasing infant mortality among the poor. In Detroit, one of the great cities of the Western world, babies are dying at the same rate as Honduras, the most undeveloped nation in our hemisphere. This administration must be held accountable for policies that contribute to growing poverty in America. There are now 34 million people in poverty, 15% of our nation, 23 million of white, 11 million black, Hispanic, Asian, and others, mostly women and children. By the end of this year, there will be 41 million people in poverty. We cannot stand idly by. We must fight for change now.
And what should we be doing with the internet? To your point there, man, we got to do better. We got to do more. You know, some of these politicians and some of these networks, there's so much we got to do. He came from a real Black experience from the bottom. That's why he empathized with all. Also, why they didn't like him. Too idealistic for them. Well, he's definitely too idealistic. Definitely. You can't have one of the common folks in the White House. You can't have that.
Under this regime, we look at Social Security. The 81 budget cuts included 9 permanent Social Security benefit cuts, totaling $20 billion over 5 years. Small businesses have suffered. On the Reagan tax cuts, only 18% of total business tax cuts went to them, 82% to big business. Health care under Mr. Reagan has been sharply cut. Education under Mr. Reagan has been cut 25%. Under Mr. Reagan, there are now 9.7 million female-head families. They represent 16% of all families. Half of all of them are poor. 70% of all poor children live in a house headed by a woman where there is no man. Under Mr. Reagan, the administration has cleaned up only 6 of 546 priority toxic waste dumps. Farmers' real net income was only about half its level in 1979. Many say that the race in November will be decided in the South. President Reagan is depending on the conservative South to return him to office. But the South, I tell you, is unnaturally conservative. The South is the poorest region in our nation, and therefore the least to conserve. In his appeal to the South, Mr. Reagan is trying to substitute flags and prayer clause for food and clothing and education, health care, and housing.
And unfortunately, it works. It continues to work with the Southern folk there.
Mr. Reagan will ask us to pray, and I believe in prayer. I've come this way by the power of prayer, but then we must watch false prophecy. He cuts indigent assistance to the poor, cut breakfast programs from children, cut lunch programs from children, cut job training from children, and then say to an empty table, let us pray. Apparently, he is not familiar with the structure of a prayer. You thank the Lord for the food that you're about to receive, not the food that just left. I think that we should pray, but don't pray for the food that left. Pray for the man that took the food to leave. We need a change. We need a change in local. Under Mr. Reagan, the misery index has risen for the poor. The danger index has risen for everybody. Under this administration, we've lost the lives of our boys in Central America, in Honduras, in Grenada, in Lebanon, a nuclear standoff in Europe. Under this administration, 1/3 of our children believe they will die in a nuclear war. The danger index is increasing in this world. All the talk about the defense against Russia, the Russian submarines are closer and their missiles are more accurate. We live in a world of night more miserable and the world more dangerous. While Reaganomics and Reaganism is talked about often, so often we miss the real meaning. Reaganism is a spirit. Reaganomics represent the real economic facts of life. In 1980, Mr. George Bush a man with reasonable access to Mr. Reagan, did an analysis of Mr. Reagan's economic plan. Mr. George Bush concluded that Reagan's plan was voodoo economics. He was right. Third-party candidate John Anderson said a combination of military spending, tax cuts, and a balanced budget by 84 would be accomplished with blue smoke and mirrors. They were both right. Mr. Reagan talked about a dynamic recovery. There's some measure of recovery. 3.5 years later, unemployment has inched just below where it was when he took office in 81. There are still 8.1 million people officially unemployed, 11 million working only part-time. Inflation has come down, but let's analyze for a moment who has paid the price. The superficial economic recovery. Mr. Reagan curbed inflation by cutting consumer demand. He cut consumer demand with punch-ups and callous fiscal and monetary policies. He used the federal budget to deliberately induce unemployment and curb social spending. He then raised and supported tight monetary policies of the Federal Reserve Board to deliberately drive up interest rates, again to curb consumer demand created through borrowing. Unemployment reached 10.7%. We experienced skyrocketing interest rates. Our dollar inflated abroad. There were record bank failures, record farm foreclosures, record business bankruptcies, record budget deficits, record trade deficits. Mr. Reagan brought inflation down by destabilizing our economy and disrupting family life. He promised in 1980 a balanced budget, but instead we now have a record $200 billion budget deficit. Under Mr. Reagan, the cumulative budget deficit for his 4 years is more than the sum total of deficits from George Washington to Jimmy Carter combined. I tell you, we need a change.
Still the same old problem. Same old problems. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Let's analyze the same problems then and now. Same problems, same budget deficit, same nuclear threats. Iran was a problem then. Same problems.
How is he paying for these short-term jobs? Reagan's economic recovery is being financed by deficit spending, $200 billion a year. Military spending, a major cause of this deficit, is projected over the next 5 years to be nearly $2 trillion, because about $40,000 for every taxpaying family. When the government borrows $200 billion annually to finance the deficit, this encourages the private sector to make its money off of interest rates, as opposed to development and economic growth. Even money abroad, we don't have enough money domestically to finance the debt, so we are now borrowing money abroad from foreign banks, governments, and financial institutions. $40 billion in 1983, $70 to $80 billion in 1984, 40% of our total, over $100 billion, 50% of our total in 1985. By 1989, it is projected that 50% of all individual income taxes will be going just to pay for interest on that debt. The United States used to be the largest exporter of capital. But under Mr. Reagan, we will quite likely become the largest debtor nation. About 2 weeks ago, on July the 4th, we celebrated our Declaration of Independence. Yet every day, supply-side economics is making our nation more economically dependent and less economically free. 5 to 6% of our gross national product is now being eaten up with President Reagan's budget deficits. To depend on foreign military powers to protect our national security would be foolish, making us dependent and less secure. Yet Reaganomics has us increasingly dependent on foreign economic sources. This consumer-led but deficit finance recovery is unbalanced and artificial. We have a challenge as Democrats to point a way out. Democracy guarantees opportunity, not success. Democracy guarantees the right to participate, not a license for either a majority or a minority to dominate. The victory for the Rainbow Coalition in the platform debates today was not whether we won or lost, but that we raised the right issues. We could We can afford to lose the vote. Issues are non-negotiable. We cannot afford to avoid raising the right questions. Our self-respect and our moral integrity were at stake. Our heads are perhaps bloody, but not bowed. Our back is straight. We can go home and face our people. Our vision is clear. When we think on this journey from slave ship to championship, we've gone from the planks of the boardwalk in Atlantic.
Some of these is way too long. I mean, 40 minutes. That's all you can give them, man. These speeches are way too long.
City in 1964, to fighting to help right the planks in the platform in San Francisco in '84, there was a deep and abiding sense of joy in our souls in spite of the tears in our eyes. Though there are missing planks, there is a solid foundation upon which to build. Our party can win, but we must provide hope which will inspire people to struggle and achieve. Provide a plan that shows a way out of our dilemma and then lead the way. In 1984, my heart is made to feel glad because I know there is a way out. Justice. The requirement for rebuilding America is justice. The linchpin of progressive politics in our nation will not come from the North. They, in fact, will come from the South. That is why I argue over and over again. We look from Virginia around to Texas. There's only one black congressperson out of 115. 19 years later, we're locked out the Congress, the Senate, and the governor's mansion. What does this large black vote mean? Why do I fight to end second primaries and fight gerrymandering and annexation and that large? Why fight over that? Because I tell you, you cannot hold someone in the ditch unless you linger there with them. Unless you linger there. If you want to change in this nation, you enforce that Voting Rights Act, we'll get 12 to 20 black, Hispanic, female, and progressive congresspersons from the South. We can save the cotton, but we got to fight the boll weevils. We got to make a judgment. We got to make a judgment. It's not enough to hope ERA will pass. How can we pass ERA? If blacks vote in great numbers, progressive whites win. It's the only way progressive whites win. If blacks vote in great numbers, Hispanics win. When blacks, Hispanics, and progressive whites vote, women win. When women win, children win. When women and children win, workers win. We must all come up together. We must come up together.
We trying, high vibe. We trying. Keep hope alive. We trying. All this powerful decades later, we have freedom. Wow. Now, according to this administration, they're trying to take it all away from us. They're trying to take it all away from us. Yeah. We got to get to a point where it's more than just talk, man. This is too bad. It's too bad we're still fighting the same problems 40 years later.
All of our joy and excitement, we must not save the world and lose our souls. We should never short circuit enforcing the Voting Rights Act at every level. One of us rise, all of us will rise. Justice is the way out. Peace is the way out. We should not act as if nuclear weaponry is negotiable and debatable. In this world in which we live, we dropped the bomb on Japan and felt guilty. But in 1984, other folks also got bombed. This time, if we dropped the bomb, 6 minutes later, We too will be destroyed. It's not about dropping the bomb on somebody. It's about dropping the bomb on everybody. We must choose developed minds over guided missiles and think it out and not fight it out. It's time for a change.
I feel you, Mike and Malice, the original Rainbow Coalition before it got all crazy. And I started to say before, I was listening to a podcast earlier. The ladies from the I Hate It Here podcast. They were talking about Governor Gavin Newsom and saying that he went too far away from, the liberal crazy talk. And I'm saying that was good. You got to get away from that, because you're not going to get the moderates if you're talking this crazy woke stuff. You're not going to get them. They don't like what Trump is doing, but they don't want to hear transitioning little kids anymore. We're past that. We don't want to talk about that anymore. So they hate poor and middle class. If you have a job, you report to them, the most disoriented country on the planet to be so advanced. True. What's up, pirate broadcaster? There's that Obama change again. Yeah. I probably did. You're right. Probably right about that high vibe. This is where you got that change slogan from. Yeah. Well, we've been noticing that, right? A lot of similarities between these two. We should probably do Obama's speech one day this week. We should probably do that speech too. Maybe we'll try to get to that one.
Our foreign policy must be characterized by mutual respect, not by gunboat diplomacy, big stick diplomacy, and threats. Our nation at its best feeds the hungry. Our nation at its worst, will mine the harbors of Nicaragua. At its worst, will try to overthrow that government. At its worst, will cut aid to American education and increase aid to El Salvador. At its worst, our nation will have partnership with South Africa. That's a moral disgrace. It's a moral disgrace.
You were right about that high vibe. It got him elected, though. It might have been a performance, but it got him elected. Or at least it set him on the path to being elected.
We cannot just focus on apartheid in Southern Africa. We must fight for trade with Africa and not just aid to Africa. We cannot stand idly by and say we will not relate to Nicaragua unless they have elections there, and then embrace military regime in Africa, overthrowing democratic governments in Nigeria and Liberia and Ghana. We must fight for democracy all around the world and play the game by one set of rules. Peace in this world. Our present formula for peace in the Middle East is inadequate. It will not work. There are 22 nations in the Middle East. Our nation must be able to talk and act and influence all of them. We must build upon Camp David and measure human rights by one yardstick. In that region, we have too many interests and too few friends. There's a way out: jobs, put America back to work. Now the child growing up in Greenville, South Carolina, Reverend Sample used to preach ever so often a sermon relating to Jesus, and he said, "If I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me."
You're right about that, Sir Reliable. Too many get-along politicians. They're all bought and paid for. We all know this, right? We got to get rid of Citizens United. That has to go. In this next election, that has to be on the table. Citizens United, term limits for politicians. All politicians should have term limits. The Supreme Court should have term limits. Money completely out of politics. I also think you ought to rewrite the Constitution. What happened with what's going on with Trump should never happen again. To the best of our ability. We got to tighten up everything. So I would be in favor of redoing a lot of that. What's up, Mr. Stu? And I didn't say what's up to you, High Vibe. So what's up? Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure y'all hit the like button. Politicians is a money-making business. Another thing is to get money out of politics 100%. That is by if you're a politician, particularly in the House or the Senate, you can't do stock trading. it kind of messed me up because I follow these people, whatever stocks they make, whatever trades they make, I make. But you got to get it. You got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that.
I didn't quite understand what he meant as a child growing up, but I understand a little better now. If you raise up truth, it's magnetic. It has a way of drawing people. With all this confusion and this conviction and bright lights and parties and big fun, we must raise up the simple proposition. If we lift up a program to feed the hungry, they'll come running. If we lift up a program to study war no more, our youth will come running. If we lift up a program to put America back to work as an alternative to the welfare and despair, they will come working. If we cut that military budget without cutting our defense and use that money to rebuild bridges and put steel workers back to work, and use that money and provide jobs for our cities, and use that money to build schools and pay teachers and educate our children and build hospitals and train doctors and train nurses, the whole nation will come running to us. As I leave you now, and we vote in this convention and get ready to go back across this nation in a couple of days, in this campaign, I tried to be faithful to my promise. I lived in El Barrios, ghettos, Indian reservations, and housing projects. I have a message for our youth. I challenge them to put hope in their brains and not dope in their veins. I told them that, like Jesus, I too was born in the slum, but just because you're born in the slum does not mean the slum is born in you, and you can rise above it if your mind is made up. I told them, in every slum, there are two sides. When I see a broken remnant, that's the slummy side. Train some youth to become a glazer, that's the sunny side. When I see a missing brick, that's the slummy side. Let that child in the union and become a brick mason and build, that's the sunny side. When I see a missing dull youth to become a carpenter, that's the sunny side. When I see the vulgar words and hieroglyphics of destitution on the walls, that's the slummy side. Train some youth to become a painter and artist, that's the sunny side. We leave this place looking for the sunny side because there's a brighter side somewhere. I'm more convinced than ever that we can win. We'll fought up the rough side of the mountain. We can win. I just want young America to do me one favor. Just one favor. Exercise the right to dream. You must face reality, that which is, but then dream of the reality that ought to be, that must be. Live beyond the pain of reality with the dream of a bright tomorrow. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress. Use love to motivate you and obligate you to serve the human family. Young America, dream. Choose the human race over the nuclear race. Bury the weapons and don't burn the people. Dream. Dream of a new value system. Teachers who teach for life and not just for a living. Teach because they can't help it. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice than a judgeship. Dream of doctors more concerned about public health than personal wealth. Dream of preachers and priests who will prophesy and not just profiteer. Preach and dream. Our time has come. Our time has come. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. Our time has come. Our faith, hopes, and dreams will prevail. Our time has come. Weeping has endured for a night, but now joy cometh in the morning. Our time has come. No grave can hold our body down. Our time has come. No lie can live forever. Our time has come. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come. We've come from disgrace to amazing grace. Our time has come. Give me your tired, give me your poor, your huddle masses who yearn to breathe free. And come November, there will be a change because our time has come. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, so that was that one. I appreciate everybody rocking and showing up. I appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button. That's all I got for tonight. That's all I got for tonight. I really, really appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you to those paid the entry fee, to AJC and to Solavo for the $5 for both of you. I appreciate you all. Friday night, we're going to try to do 1988, and maybe one day over the weekend, I'll try to get to Obama's speech as well. We only got a couple more days. We only got a couple more days in February, so we were about to say that sexy chocolate reverend from the Coming to America. He was trying to hold it back. He's trying to hold it back. He was trying to hold it back. I listen, it gives us something to fight for, something to keep on, to be positive. They're still fighting the same monsters. As he said, you want to get to the cotton, you got to deal with the bull weevils there. So we got to continue to fight on, got to continue to press on. So it's Black History every day and every month. Y'all, you're right about that, High Vibe. You're right about that. For those of you may be interested, who was it? Dr. Anwar, Big Discussion 76. He did a show about Shahrazad Ali the other night. I think it was last night. So go over and check that one out. So he did Shahrazad Ali. So yeah, we're gonna try to do Jessie 1988 speech and then Obama speech. So we are where we are because we didn't listen and react and move forward. I don't know about that. I just think that a lot of us didn't vote. I think the problems have always been the lack of voting, apathy, and not seizing the moment. So I think a lot of that is a problem. I think a lot of people just didn't vote. They didn't demand more of the politicians. Too much corruption, as I mentioned. The Citizens United really kept us going in the wrong direction. Obviously, racism kept us going in the wrong direction. People would rather vote in Reagan, and at that particular time, and this is when Reagan had his second term. Just don't want to hold people accountable. Racism is America's plague. I think it's going on with Trump, Reagan. Yeah, I think it's all of it. So we got to get out and vote. Hope you guys are preparing for that. Calling up to your downtown offices, making sure your name is on the ballot box. Make sure you got a passport, and make sure your driver's license and your birth certificate all have your name. You got to work on that today, before March. You got to get on that. I would not be surprised if particularly if you're a registered Democrat, and a person of color, you Black, you better get on that. You better get on that. I tell my kids about that too. Listen, you guys want to continue to vote. They are deleting people's names left and right. So saw a couple of Instagram posts about that. So who covered Shahrazad Ali? Big Discussions 76, Dr. Anwar. But if you go to Big Discussion 76, his channel should pop up. Yeah. Governors have provided this administration their voter rolls. It's serious. There's 24 that are suing. excuse me, the government, the U.S. government is suing about 24 states because they won't give them over. And my state, listen, my state is on it. I agree with everything that they've done. My state, Connecticut, they have not given over the voter rolls. My legislatures are doing what they need to do. As far as I'm very happy with my elected officials. I'm very happy with my elected officials. So, yeah. They're doing everything I want them to do, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to stay on top of it. Just because I live here doesn't mean that I'm not going to stay on top of it. But I think it's like 24 states refuse to give over their voter rolls. So you guys got to get on that. So I would also change your affiliation to independent. I'm just saying, because if they are targeting Democrats, you put yourself on a list, you know. So just make sure you guys are registered to vote and all that kind of stuff. Dr. L, I know you back on the videos. It's so much going on now. Yeah, it's a lot going on. I wish I had more time. I got to still do a lot of stuff for teaching and all that. And I'm trying to turn my dissertation into a book. So I got a lot of stuff going on. So let's not just talk about generational wealth. Let's take care of the present and the wealth we'll produce. Well, to some extent, I agree with that. But we got to, generational wealth is obviously tied into family formation, which is obviously tied into us supporting one another. We got to buy from each other. We got to learn about community economics, have a stable business, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot going on. You're right about that. Beautifully said. There's a lot going on here. So I appreciate you guys checking out this video tonight. So go over and watch Big Discussions, his what he did about Shahrazad Ali. So some of the videos from the 80s are really, really bad. This was a pretty good one, but it's really bad. It's really bad. So, all right, y'all. I will see you guys. Take care. I'll try to do a show on Friday night, about the same time, about 7:30ish or so. Can anybody tell me a Democrats party policy you're looking forward to be implemented? No. I'm not saying to vote for the Democrats. I am saying to vote this guy out of office. To be honest with you, I think it should be a protest vote against what this guy's doing. Are the Democrats? I have made videos about this, in particular on my other channel, Dr. L's Breakdown. Why do people vote for the Democrats? We got to demand something, and I think that now is the perfect time for us as a community, as a society, as a culture. And I'm talking about white people, I'm talking about poor people, I'm talking about everybody they're trying to disenfranchise. I'm talking about those people who are in the target crosshairs of this government. I think that this is the time now to put up our demands. We want change. We want no more wars. We want real economic growth. We want to focus on America. We want infrastructure bills. We want full funding of colleges, universities. We want them to roll back everything that they did from that the Trump administration rolled out. We want them to roll it back. We want to slash the military budget. Now is the time for that. I also think they ought to run a couple of third-party candidates saying that exact thing, and doing that, and demanding an end to ICE, demanding an end to every negative policy. We had to tax the rich, tax the billionaires. It's time now we had the momentum. We had the momentum. They tried to gerrymander. They tried to they're trying to steal the elections now. Now is the time to say, you want our votes? Here's what we want. Here's what we want. Otherwise, we're going to vote for somebody else. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. Absolutely. We got to demand. We got to demand it. Here's what we want. Here's what we want. Billions of dollars to ICE to build these facilities all across the country, detaining people, bombing boats in the Caribbean. What is this administration doing? Threatening Greenland, threatening Canada? What? It's crazy. And all because our politicians are owned by the corporates. We got to take it all back. All of it has to go. All of it has to go. I was watching the movie. What was I watching? I was watching I wish I could clip this. The movie not Civil War, Winter Soldier. When Samuel L. Jackson was shot, he was in the cave, and they brought Captain America to him, and they brought not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow to him, and they're having a talk in the cave, and Sam Wilson was there as well. And Captain America said, no, all of it has to go. Hydra has to go. What was the other one? Hydra, Shield, all it has to go. That's got to be our philosophy. All of it has to go. Because Hydra grew within Shield. Those movies were deep. Hydra grew within Shield. All the stuff that's going on is growing on and growing in our government. Going on in our government. At the hands of the billionaires. They get tax cuts, and I did my brother's tax. It's tax time. Y'all doing your taxes. Y'all see what's going on. It's crazy. Taxing the poor people. Crazy. Crazy. Absolutely nuts what's going on. So, all right, y'all. Have a great night. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to go eat. I'll see you guys on Friday. Take care. Have a great one.